What's a good word, everyone? I'm Kenny Bauer, the owner of SportsHaveBalls.com. Welcome to the Sports Have Balls Sports and More Show, where we got a 13-game preview, starting with all three games tonight, Friday night, October 25th. October 26th, we're going to continue with 10 more FBS games and maybe a little bit on our Montana Grizzlies, ranked ninth in the country. So what are we going to start with? We're going to start with an actual client play. Boise State minus 3.5 over UNLV with a total of 63.5. So what is the best value with what we could find in this game? That's an actual client play that we're giving out to everybody for free right here. I'm going to tell you that. Just hold on for about 40 seconds because sportshaveballs.com is the name of my site, and SportsHaveBalls is the name of my site. We have sports pick packages. When anyone comes to chat with me on Twitter or Facebook, you get buy one, get one free, whether it's a week, a month, a year, 3 months. We have all sorts of different packages. Check us out at sportshaveballs.com. So, when I look at Boise State and UNLV, I see the number that gets away. This was sitting at minus 3. At least when I was able to see it, it was minus 3 with juice. We did not jump on Boise State with that particular number. But sometimes when you miss the number, the point spread number, you can rock and roll with it in a different way. And how do we do that? We are looking at the team total. And I think this is actually a better priced number for what we're looking to do. We're looking for points to be scored, not at a premium, but all game long. I look for Boise State over 34.5. Under 5 touchdowns. Not only that, you get a plus 105. At least we found a plus 105 number with Boise State over 34.5. Another book had 33.5 minus 125. I'll take the 34.5 because I'm looking for big time, a big outstanding performance by Boise State tonight. Now, of course, you start with Ashton Jeanty, who is averaging 9.9 yards a carry, 1,248 yards, everything. Best player in college football outside Travis Hunter. A guy that people actually think can win the Heisman. The last time a person from a non-Power 4 school won the Heisman was, Roger Staubach. So I don't know if that can happen because Heisman never has been about the best player in college football. But in this game, you got a UNLV team that has led up 25 to Oregon State, 34 to Utah State, despite the blowout, and 38 in regulation to the Cuse. This is a Boise State team that every single game outside of last week put up 34 or more. And I know we got to hit the 35, but that 34 was against Oregon in just an outstanding matchup against the top-ranked team in the country. Last week was a sleepwalk. You could almost see it coming. Only 28 against Hawaii. You knew this was the big-time game coming up. This is for all the marbles for now. The loser of this game, I don't think can make it. Even though they might rematch for the Mountain West title, a 2-loss team out here, it's putting themselves in jeopardy. The winner of this game has an inside track. At least they've got a good shot at going to the playoff, especially with Boise State. I think Boise State is far superior team. They average 524 yards a game. They've scored 56, 56, 45, 62, and that 34 against Oregon. This team is going to put up points against a UNLV team that is very suspect. They were very suspect against Oregon State. I think you can lay the number. I think this point spread is going in the right direction. People are just looking at UNLV as a nice little story because they haven't been really, really good for a while. But I think Boise State's going to show people what a top 15, top 20 team is and why UNLV dropped out of the rankings, lost to the Cuse in overtime, couldn't get the job done with plenty of chances to get that one. They let Oregon State back in the game. And even up 40 to 7 at the half, still couldn't cover against Utah State. I look for the bubble to burst for UNLV. Boise State. Um, I like them to cover, but we didn't get the best number. So since we didn't get the best number, we're not here to bet bad numbers. 34 and a half plus 105. I love Boise in that situation. So with all these breakdowns, they're not necessarily client plays, but that is one. 34 and a half team total is what we put in today at plus 105. Now, as we look at some other games, we see Louisville was 7.5 over Boston College on the road, 53 and a half. It has since gone down to 7 last I checked. I would want to get a 7.5 if you want Boston College. I think Louisville's been overvalued as we've gone along this year. They've lost 3 out of 4. Granted, you got some pretty good teams in there with Miami, Notre Dame. Their win against Georgia Tech was as about fugazi as you can possibly get. With they just recovered a fumble in the end zone on a Haynes King poor play and a block kick for a touchdown. They're fortunate to win that game. They were quasi in the Miami game, but who doesn't play Miami close? California's been able to put 38 points up on them. So, and Virginia Tech went on the road and put 34 and almost beat them. It's like you don't have to be a great team to almost beat Miami. So, Louisville's been very unimpressive. They were able to win late against Virginia, still only won by 4. Now you're telling them to go on the road and win by double digits over Boston College. I don't think that's the great way to go. Castellanos is a good runner, and I think you're going to be able to move the ball somewhat against this Louisville team. Can't read my own writing. Jeez. Oh, throw in that this is a sandwich spot. I mean, a legit one, not the fake ones that so many people make up. When you're playing Clemson next week, you just came off playing a Miami in a hugely emotional home game in the big noon spot, the number one game going on at noon, and now you're going to come back here. And although it is a bit of a primetime Friday night spot, it's on the road against sleepy Boston College, and I just don't see how they're going to get the job done. BC last week, 42-21. They were down 28-0. Cut that thing back to 28-21. So this is a team that's not going to give up. A team that lost, 24-14 to Virginia. After getting good starts, they played Missouri tough. I look for you to get a really good effort out of Boston College. I don't know if I can get through the window the way Boston College has played lately, but I am not taking Louisville, especially in a big sandwich, off the Miami game where they almost won. And this is just not a team that you lay points with. You want to take points with them, I understand, but laying points with them, I don't see it. The last game for Friday night is the teams on the 3-game losing streak. USC 14 over Rutgers. My first thought is, how do you give 14 with a team like USC? They came off the Penn State game where they gave everything, just like Louisville did, everything into that game. They lost that game again by losing to Maryland. A lot of people were able to take that. I stayed off that game last week. Then you got Rutgers, who is mounting up injuries on defense on a team that can't score. Yes, they put up 32 against UCLA, but this is a defensive team who scored 7 the previous 2 weeks. They scored 7 each time. Now they put up 32 against a poor UCLA defense. USC's does not have the greatest defense, but they will be able to run the ball against Rutgers. And therein lies the problem. You got the problem of the Big Ten going over 2 time zones and struggling. And now you got a Rutgers team coming off 3 straight losses and a team that is building up the injuries on defense. I can only look USC's way here at 14 or less, but it's not. It will probably not make our client card here at sportsatballs.com, but I could only look at USC. At least USC played Penn State and then let Maryland take them out. But now they're back home. They're comfortable against a team I think they're going to be able to throw some points up on, since this was the strength of their team Their offense is lacking. No quarterback. Look for USC to be able to run the ball and get separation, I think, from these guys. With a total sitting at 56.5. Not cool. All right, Saturday. My favorite one that we bet. Here's another one. I'll give you another client. There's two. I didn't even plan on giving it to you. But remember, when you want our best plays, sportsatballs.com, name of my site. And again, I'm giving you a second free client play. Client's probably going to kill me, but that's okay. We want to show you what we're all about. Kansas State 9.5 against Kansas. I could only look Kansas State way in this game. And this one even went up to 10. But we see it at 9.5 now. We saw it at 9.5 before. We did not lay the 9.5 in this rivalry game. The total sits at 54.5. You got a Kansas team who finally won a game. Great job, 42-14 over a very bad Houston team. Prior to that, they had lost 5 in a row to 5 unranked teams. And 3 of them scored 35, 38, and 32. This is a Kansas State team that in 9 of their last 10 home games over a 2-year span, same coach, same basic team, has scored over this 32.5. I love that. And the one time they didn't was this year against Arizona when they had 28 points through 3 quarters and just won 31-7. I look for you. If Kansas State gets Kansas down in this game, they're going to punch in that extra touchdown. That is what they do in the Little Apple. Under their can't remember his name, but the number one coach that got this Snyder got this program rolling. They would stick in the extra touchdown. Klein, he's gonna stick in the extra touchdown against these guys, and these guys are just outstanding at home. 9 out of 10 games they have gone over this total of 32.5. 8 of those 10 games they've got 41 plus. This Kansas defense will be little resistance. You will get a focused Kansas spot here, coming off a nice blowout win over West Virginia. I don't look them to let down against what they consider in football little brother. This is just a Kansas team that can't stop people. But if Kansas can get the offense going, maybe they stay within 10 or 9. I like Kansas State less than 10, but why even put that in there? 32.5 points, a team that scores in bunches for years. I can only look Kansas State over 32.5 was our play. We made that play on Wednesday, I believe it was, and we're giving it out to you free. But when you want the greatest package going, sportsatballs.com, come chat with me. I leave all my X information below, Facebook information. Come chat with me. That is when you get the buy one, get one free going on today. So now let's look. So there you go. There's 2 client plays that we gave you, and there you go. Can't give you any more client plays now, or the clients get mad. So SMU 11.5 over Duke, the most fugazi team out there. The total sitting at 48.5. What do we got from Duke? We got a team that beat Florida State by 7, let up a kick return for a touchdown. Florida State had 4, Duke was +4 in turnovers, and still could only beat a bad Florida State team by 7. Why? Because Florida State put up 291, Duke put up 180 yards. Again, against really bad teams, you can overcome stuff. Another way they beat a really bad team, they trailed North Carolina, who had chances to put extra field goals on the board and just didn't. They only led 20-0. Duke came back, 21-20. They played Georgia Tech on the road, 24-14 loss. Georgia Tech covers, 412-279 in yards. Beating Elon, Northwestern, UConn, and Middle Tennessee State is nowhere near what SMU is. Since SMU has gone to Jennings at quarterback and had some mobility, making up for anything you might think is wrong with the with the offensive line, they've just crushed people. This is a team that struggled with Nevada in week one. In week three, I was very impressed with BYU, who actually they controlled the line of scrimmages. Since then, Jennings at quarterback, they've been controlling the line of scrimmage much better. The 6-1 team, 11.5 is very low in my opinion here. I think SMU is talented enough to win the ACC, and they will flex their muscles, and I think they're going to take these guys down. We didn't make it a client play, but I could only look at SMU, and I haven't made it a client play yet. Who knows if we will? You will know when you join us, sportsatballs.com, week, month, year, 3 months, 6 months. You know the drill. All right, now we're going to look at Penn State and Wisconsin. This is like right down the middle here. You got Penn State right now sitting at 6.5. You got Penn State coming off a bye where they had to go tooth and nail. It's great that they have a bye because they were coming off an emotional high. It was a showdown game at the time. Despite USC struggles now, it was a big time game. They had to come from behind, and they won 33-30. Then they had a week off, so it's not a true sandwich. They got Ohio State next week in what's probably going to be a whiteout game, which they're really looking forward to. And a slip up here doesn't cost them the national title. Because you still, with this 12-game playoff, you still are going to be able to control yourself. Wisconsin, on the other hand, what do we got? A team that's outscored their opponents 117-16. That's all well and good, but when you peel back the onion, it's Northwestern, it's Purdue. Let me get this up. It's Northwestern, it's Purdue, it's Rutgers. Not the best of the best going today. But what we do have, what do we see when this Wisconsin team has stepped up in competition? Holy cow! It got light. Woo. What has happened when they stepped up in competition? They have. Let's go. Boom. Boom. There. That's how you know it's nice and live and just out of the, just love this stuff. So, what do you got? You got a they stepped up in competition twice, right? USC, they lost by 17, but they had shots in that game, and they just haven't stepped up. When they lost to USC by 17, and they got blasted by Alabama. So now, how much of a step-up game is this? This is a big step-up game. Penn State. I can't say I could only look Wisconsin. I mean, maybe a Wisconsin +7, Penn State -6.5 when it's all said and done. But I could see this either way because then you got a 47.5, and you got to throw in that Wisconsin. This game's at night, so I don't give this thing like Wisconsin. People love to say Camp Randall. It's awesome. It's great. It's not. It's not that bad, but it is a little bit better at night. I would give the slightest leans if I was giving a free bet to Wisconsin. Now the next game we're going to break down is a lot more fun than you're going to think at first. So really pay attention to this game because there are some unreal stats in this game. Tulane. Yes, the Green Wave, a team that thinks that they actually have a chance at going to the college football playoff. Well, they do play Army and Navy. They're going to have to beat them and maybe beat them twice to get there. But They're playing North Texas. They're favored by 7.5 on the road at North Texas with a total of 69. A total look-ahead game. They really just kind of just trudged through and went through the motions against Rice and won 24-10. Now this is a team that three times this year scored 41 plus. They got 41-33 against Louisiana, 45-10 against South Florida, 71-20 over UAB. This team is going to be scoring against North Texas, who is a sieve on defense. But as much as they're a sieve on defense, Chandler Morris, do you remember that name from TCU back then? I know people who love college football and follow every team would know Chandler Morris from TCU, now dominating at North Texas. Listen, look at these. What do we have? 6 games against FBS opponents. This is how many points were scored in their games. From the most recent, all season long, 96 points were scored, 78, 72, 61, the outlier, 87 and 90. Twice over 90. 5 out of 6 times clearing this number of 69. At Memphis, they lost 52-44 last week. They beat Florida Atlantic 41-37. They beat Tulsa 52-20. They beat Wyoming 44-17. They lost to a Big 12 team. It's almost like you throw it out, but it was 66-21. And then a 52-38 win at South Alabama. So 5 out of 5 non-Power 4 schools have gone over the total. One by 3 points, the rest by 9 or more. This is a team that can score with the best of them, even against a decent Tulane team going here. My thing is looking at the totals. Tulane, 38.5 is minus 113 if you take their team total. 36.5 at another book is minus 160. 29.5 from North Texas, minus 121. You could make a triple. You could make a great argument of taking Tulane over 38.5, North Texas over 29.5, over 28.5 at 135, but 29 being a dead number, over 29.5. There will be points in this game. 44. They've scored 44, 41, 52, 44, and 52. Those are their 5 games against FBS non-Power 4. 41, 44, 52, 44, and 52 again. So at least 41 in this type of matchup. On the conversely, they've let up 52, 37, 20, and 38. So they're letting up big points, they're scoring big points. Tulane can definitely score against this team. Tulane is the better team. Tulane is the better defense, but you cannot shut this North Texas team down. It's been proven. Tulane is not on the level of Texas Tech. You're going to see points in bunches in this game. You know, if you're one that likes to go over these big totals, this is the game for you. This one's just hiding in the weeds out there. Look for a ton of points in this game. You could even try a triple if you want, with team totals over and North Texas over. I believe this is a noon game. You could say screw all the other big-time games and just go with Tulane and North Texas. Watch it, see if you can get a ton of points. I look for a ton of points in that game. All right, back to the big boys. Oregon's 21.5 over Illinois is the spread in this game. You got 2 undefeated numbers going against each other. Oregon is a home favorite, 0-3 against the spread. Illinois is a dog, 4-0 as a dog, 4-0 straight up. 4-0 as a dog, 3-1 straight up, because they did lose to Penn State 21-7, getting a close, about the same amount of points at they were getting plus 19 and they lost 21-7. I think the biggest flaw, there's 2 flaws in taking Illinois in this type of deal. Illinois went to Nebraska and won, and I thought that was better at the time than I'm seeing it right now. Illinois went to Penn State, 260 yards to 331 yards. Not a great offensive output. Oregon's speed was just on display against Ohio State. It was crazy how much faster they were offensively to Ohio State's defense. And the fly in the ointment is as good as Illinois' defense, let up 18 points a game, all that you want to say, they had a 27-3 lead over Purdue. And Purdue scored 46 second half points. Yeah, there was overtime, but that's no excuse. 50-49 they had to hold on over Purdue. What happened there? That can happen to Oregon, and they won't put 49 up. Altmaier at quarterback for Illinois has been better than advertised, and when he stays away from mistakes, they can get some stuff done. Oregon has not been that crush it team at home that they have been in the past. 10-point win over Idaho, and they just haven't put the hammer down. Even Michigan State, which it felt like they were crushing them the whole game, they still sneaked under. Yeah, it was a last-second field goal, but when you only score 31 points and you're favored by that much, it's like people expect that 40, 50-point outburst. Last week, they went on the road to Purdue, won 35-0. That was very impressive because of the spot. They didn't just lie around and be lazy and say, we beat Ohio State, let's just go out and mess around with Purdue and try to get Kennesaw State in. No. They went out there, took care of business, and covered that 29.5. This is a much better defense, a better team than Purdue. Yes, they had that 50-49. I would lean Illinois, but with all that speed that Oregon has, probably a little bit too much of a fly in the ointment to just go ahead and take Illinois. So now we move on to the flip favorite game of the year that I swear every single sharp in the country is on. UCF 2.5 over BYU. A UCF team that's lost 4 in a row, but what has changed? Putting in Brown at quarterback and his 8 for 20 that he had last week. Yes, they ran for 353 yards and lost. So they found a new quarterback. They took KJ Jefferson, said he's not good enough. That's fine. But you're taking a team that's lost 4 in a row against an undefeated team that you just saw escape Oklahoma State. And that has everyone and their mother on UCF. So if you want to follow all the sharps, you're going to get a bad number, but you just need UCF to win. Take them on the money line. It's still a bad number, minus 135. BYU came out as a 2.5 point favorite. If this goes to 3 the other way, I almost have to take BYU, just on principle alone. This is a team that, when I saw them against SMU, controlled the line of scrimmage. I see UCF with a 27-point loss to Colorado, a 11-point loss to Florida. But what happened? They ran for 353 yards and almost beat an over-ranked Iowa State team. If Iowa State's in their normal 18th, 20th, 22nd ranked team, I'm not so sure people are going to be overreacting to a 38-35 loss to them. But since they're undefeated, you have to put them at number 8. And I think that's more that's more Iowa State. It's just a good team that's undefeated, more than UCF. So they're somewhere in between what they did against Iowa State and their 27-point loss at the bounce house to Colorado. But what has changed? The quarterback has changed. Still completing less than 50% of your passes. And you're going to take that into BYU, and now as a favorite? I don't buy it. I'm going to say I like BYU. I don't know if I'm going to pull a trigger and make it a client play. You'll find out when you guys sign up with us, but I'm not sure. And remember, that's sportsheadballs.com. And remember to get twice as many plays from us. Just come chat with me for 1 minute. I'll get you set up, be rocking and rolling in the Carrier Dome. Now, let's look at Texas Vanderbilt. This is really quite interesting because Texas is 17 and a half. It was up as high as 18 and a half. I might have touched 19, but I know I've seen it at 18 and a half. It's coming down to 17 and a half with a total of 51 against Vandy. Vandy, 4-0 against the spread as a dog, 3-1 outright. Their one loss was an overtime loss. Now let's look at the Texas side. Texas is the better team. They got throttled at home. They even got their way when they threw bottles on the field. They threw bottles on the field and go, oh, let's go to reverse the call now. They still couldn't take that momentum and do anything and even score. After they scored that touchdown that the refs gave them, they still couldn't score the rest of the game. But when you look at what they've done, what they did against a mild schedule, they put up 34, 35, 51, 56, 31, 52. They're sitting at the best I could see is a team total 34 and a half minus 117. And I almost got tricked into doing that because I'm thinking I'm going off Vanderbilt Alabama memory where Alabama just started moving the ball up and down the field. That's a little bit more of the outlier though. I mean, when they beat them 40-35, held on with that great offense, Missouri scored 20 in regulation. It was a 30-27 OT win, but in regulation, Missouri only put 20 up, and that's when they were healthy. Virginia Tech, who was coming from behind the whole time, put up 27. Obviously, Texas has a better offense than that. And, the outlier of Georgia State putting up 36 on these guys. When these guys are playing an SEC team, when they're playing a Power 4 school, they get ready and they go. Could Texas blow their doors in? Yes. This is not a team in Vanderbilt that has proven it as an underdog, 4-0 against the spread, what they can do, including an upset, including two upsets. They were 14-point underdogs to Virginia Tech when they pulled that one off. So it's not just Alabama. They took out Virginia Tech. They took out Kentucky. We know how tough Kentucky has been in some games. They went from beating Bama, went on the road to Kentucky, and got the win. And they're still don't seem to be getting a lot of credit for all that. I mean, they are top 25. It's a letdown spot for Texas, although they know that Vandy beat Alabama. They know they're in the top 20. Vandy's in the top 25 now. It's very interesting. It's a Texas team that has scored against everybody until they ran into the Dogs. And Vanderbilt's defense isn't the best. Probably a stay away. If anything, a Texas team total getting that 35-31 range if Vandy pulls the miracle again. All right. Now, last three. All right, Texas A&M -1 over LSU. The only two SEC conference undefeated teams. They both lost on opening day. Notre Dame beats Texas A&M by 10, 23-13. LSU loses 27-20 to USC. Now we're sitting at these two teams undefeated. How have they gotten here? Well, it hasn't been Connor Weigman for Texas A&M. As let's just say he's average. His defense, though, can punch you in the mouth. These are two physical teams that you look at the total of 55, they might make that look large. Looks more like a 23-20, 2017. As people will not admit it, they'll look at the Mississippi game and say LSU got lucky. They'll look at Arkansas getting shut down 34-10 by this team. This is an improved defense. It's a good defense. Not just improved, they're a solid defense. And people might wake up someday and find out that this is a solid defense. Nussmeier's a good quarterback. I like him better than Weigman. If I was forced to choose, I'd probably take an LSU in this type of situation. But I also look at by fumbles alone, just fumbles. Just look at the fumbles. LSU is a +6. LSU has fumbled the ball, not lost a fumble, but fumbled the ball one time all year. Their opponents have fumbled 14 times. Now, I understand the punch and forcing fumbles and ball security and all that, but there is at least an inkling of randomness in only fumbling the ball one time. How many teams go through the whole year with only fumbling it once and the other team fumbling 30 times? It's hard to say with that type of situation. I'm a little afraid of that because both of these teams are really physical. I still, with the quarterback edge and the defenses, being really physical with each other, I think LSU is going to sneak out of here with a win. Good enough to put money on? Not so much. All right, so now we'll go to the Miami Hurricanes, -21 over Florida State with a total of 54.5. Florida State is just lost on offense. They got a kick return and still only ended up with 16 points. 292 yards is not good, but you know what is good? Holding Duke to 180 yards. So the defense tries to play out. That doesn't work against Miami, especially if you're going to give Miami 75 possessions. The first thing I looked at in this game was Miami over 37.5. All 7 of their games, they have gone over this number of 37.5. The way Florida State defense is playing, I'm not as super confident in that. But I would definitely not go under in that because Miami could get hot and just roll and steamroll these guys. Also, they could force turnovers. It wouldn't be surprised if you just see Miami get short possession over short possession. Now, this is a team that's allowed a lot of points to bad offenses. Louisville, not a bad offense. They let up 45. Cal, a very bad offense. An offense that put 9 up against Florida State. Florida State's only win. And Miami had to come all the way back to beat those guys 39-38 to beat Cal. Florida State on the other hand beat Cal 14-9. So it's going to be interesting to see if Florida State can get anything done. Maybe if they were at home, but I do not think a look-ahead spot. I don't think Miami would be disinterested. This is the type of team, if it was NC State or any other team that they're 21-point favorites on, you could see a disinterested spot. Miami will not be disinterested just because Florida State is terrible this year. They will just look to win by 49. It's not something I would like to put my money on, but if I were to get a free bet, I would put it more on the points, more on Miami and how many points they can score, 38. So don't be a moron and take Florida State. Putting your money on Florida State, I say it all the time. Putting your money on really bad teams, the worst teams in the conference, or even the worst teams in the country, over the long haul, is not a good proposition. You can see teams go 2-6, so there's that 2, like Kennesaw State, who some consider actually the worst team in the country, stepped up and bit Liberty. Which the funny thing with that is the worst teams in that conference, like FIU, took them to overtime. Everyone, UTEP, teams were just not getting drilled by Liberty, and it was just a matter of time before a shocking upset happened there. All right, now let's look at Colorado and Cincinnati. I've been looking for ways to fade Colorado, and that's wrong. That's just come out wrong. And I knew it was wrong after the Baylor game. We didn't bet that game, but once they hit the lucky miracle twice against Baylor, one they dropped it, and the other they won in walk-off fashion. My past handicapping would have been, they got lucky, bet against them, boom. No. They had a 27-point win over UCF and a 27-point win over Arizona since then. Yes, in the middle, what happened? They lost in the last couple minutes to the by far best team in the Big 12 by 3 points at home. All three of those are impressive. They covered that game, 3.5. Um, I mean, I had Kansas State over 30.5 points to be scored. I don't say I was fortunate because Kansas State's the better team, but that was close. The truth about Colorado is offensive line a little bit better than they were. But what's really the big deal is they've let up 107 yards less than they did last year. Now, is it a great defense? No. But I don't want to, I'm not stepping in front of these guys. Great home field. They just have that magic because look at their schedule. You can see maybe at Texas Tech would be the bugaboo, but they can win. They can actually go and win the rest of the games. Give Travis Hunter the Heisman. Now remember, it's not often that the Heisman goes to the best player in the country. And another loss by Colorado could eliminate them. I don't know if I remember the last time a three-loss team won. Their team won the Heisman. If Cameron Ward goes undefeated, it's probably locked and loaded, and he's going to get it. Doesn't mean he's the best player. Just means he's a really great. He's a really good, great skill position player on a team with a great record in the top 10. That's what the Heisman's all about. But we got to look at Cincinnati. You know, Colorado's given 6.5. It feels low because I think Cincinnati is such an overachieving team. They're both 3-1 in the conference. With Cincinnati, one of their losses, they've lost twice, right? They lost to Pitt, a team they had down by 20 at the half, and they let it come back. I mean, all kudos to Pitt, and then they lost by 3 in OT to Texas Tech. Those are their losses. So now you're telling Colorado to win by margin? And the funny part is, I could only look at Colorado in this spot. I just think there's some magic going on in Colorado. The problem with magic is it might not be magic to win by margin. But they went to the bounce house and won by 27. And now that Central Florida team, granted with a new quarterback, but that Central Florida team is now 2.5-point favorite over unbeaten BYU. They won by 27 over Arizona. Arizona's becoming a mess. Colorado's one of the reasons. I can only look at Colorado, believe it or not. I never thought I would ever say that on a video, that I could only look at Colorado. I want no part of Cincinnati. I think they've overachieved. I think they've done some really good things. I want to take the over, but that's just not playing out for Colorado this year. So that's what I think of that game. Now you've been waiting about, of course, the Montana Grizzlies. The weird thing about this game is they're playing 1-6 Northern Colorado. That one win was against the team that had the Grizz hangover. Whenever someone actually does go into Boston Grizzly Stadium and pulls out a rare win, they always lose the next week. And that's what happened to Weber State. They got the bad call touchdown in overtime to beat the Grizz 55-48, where he did not establish himself in bounds. And even if he did, it's still not the rule. But they gave him the touchdown anyway. Montana fumbled on their first play of overtime and lost. And Northern Colorado beat that team, and Weber State basically eliminated from the playoffs. Montana's 5-2, ranked 9th in the country. They're as good as anyone from number 4 ranked down, as we can see right now. Montana State, South Dakota State, North Dakota State are the teams. Montana should really have no problems with Northern Colorado this week, and have no problems. And it's on the road. It would be played in front of 27 people, but I think Grizz fans will make the trek there, so there might be 117 people. But Montana will go to that sleepy place, get the win. They'll go to Kyle Poly and get the win. November 9th, circle your calendars, 10:30 Eastern, ESPN2. Right now, the Montana Grizzlies are number 9 in the country. They will play what is right now the number 5 team in the country, Cal Davis. Must-watch TV. Um, it will show whether the Grizz can get home games and make a little bit of a run in the tournament before Montana plays Montana State, and see if we can even challenge them this year. We'll find out. But that's a later time, so that's what we got for this week. We'll see you guys in the next video. Remember, come chat with me on any of my platforms, which are linked below in this video, and you'll get twice as many picks. How's that? Buy a week, get a week free. Buy a month, get a month free. 3 months, 6 months, a year. It's all on sportsheadballs.com. Come check us out, see what we're all about. We'll see you guys in the next video. We love having fun with these videos. I love writing articles about a bunch of these games, getting into even more detail. So we see you guys in the next video. And let's make money.